Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Her Talks by the Herpreneur Networks 2024. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is literally amazing. It's been a gorgeous day here in Atlanta. High pollen. So if I sound a little growly, that's me and my sinuses. But I want to welcome you tonight to Her Talks. We have a very special guest that is coming in. She is amazing. She is a apostle. She's a relationship doctor. She is a life coach. She is just a phenom all within herself. So if you've never seen us before on this network, the Herpreneur Network is a network of Christian women in business and in ministry. We like to call ourselves the sisterhood, and we truly, truly are. We collaborate, we celebrate each other, we hold each other accountable, we hold each other wings up, we fix each other's crowns. And we are a growing network, and we are here to make sure that Christian women in business and ministry can have all of the tools that they need so that they can be successful and move forward with their business as entrepreneurs. So we're going to bear with me for just a moment. We're going to wait for Dr. Adelia Seymour to come in. I know she had a little technical difficulty, but she is on the way in. But it is going to be phenomenal. And there she is. She is our lady of the hour. So to the audience, I would like to introduce you to my apostle. She is the governing apostle at the Wisdom Center Miracle Arena in Jonesboro, Georgia. She is what we call the Queen of the South. She is our grace. She's a relationship coach. She's a marriage coach. She's a life coach. She is just a phenomenal, phenomenal woman. And we are very honored and pleased to have her here tonight as we kick off the first Thursday of our Her Talks for Women's Month. All month, our guests will be talking on Women's Month and where we are with the women. So first, I'm going to say, Dr. Seymour, we are privileged to have you with us. Say hello to the audience before we get started.
Good evening, Dr. House. I am honored to be here with you all this evening. It is an honor and a privilege. I call it all humility. Thank God, and for especially all of those that's tuned in this evening. We are going to have some good evening fun. Thank you all.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Thank you so much, so much, so much. So it's Women's Month, and I didn't think that there was anyone more appropriate and fitting than you to help kick off this segment of Women's Month. So, being that you are, as it says, that lady, and we know that you are a relationship coach and you are really a life coach to a lot of women across the nation, really, pastors, apostles, um, just you have what we need to help us understand what this Women's Month is about. So I'm going to ask you, what is Women's Month to you? And let's think about what it is that you're going to tell us about Women's Month.
Well, the beginning of Women Month is talking about the strength and the power of women. And once we realize how much power that we have and the ability to make things happen, it's going to manifest even more and greater. So the Women Month is standing out as power and ability and stability. When you find women that knows who they are and standing in their strength, you can't stop them. They become giants, women giants, for
Yes.
such a time as this. And when you got a woman that's a giant, you could never stop that lady because she wears big shoes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Amen.
Awesome. That's great. And it is. Women are giants. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
My other question to you is, we have a lot of women that are out there that don't know what it is to be a woman. How do you help them understand their place, not just like their place at home, but their place as a woman in society?
Wow. Well, it begins with the breakdown, Elder House, and thank you again for that question. It begins with a breakdown of the mind. we were born into a womb of a female. Most all of us females that we're talking about, we were born into the nature of being a woman. But before we became the woman, we was born a female. From being a female, we became a young girl.
Mm-hmm.
After growing up and going into adulthood, we left the young girlhood and became a woman. The woman breaks down everything and holds everything. So the woman is the one that's in strength that makes things happen. But the woman is not the last part of the birthing. It's the woman that does the fighting, the battling, the making sure that everything is going on. The woman has a mastermind, but the woman is not the key to the factor of the beginning of what God was doing in creation. We're the ones that, if you notice, we stand toe to toe. We can go out and get any kind of job and do any kind of
Yeah.
thing. But the real women, we know who we are and where we are. But the latter part of it is the greater part is the latter part of the female, the woman, and then the last one that God has given me.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yes.
And we have a lot of women that, even though they've gone through this, they've been, they birth as a female, young child, they come into adulthood. The problem is, from society and even from a hereditary perspective, or from a legacy perspective, I don't think we've done, and we're not just talking about African American women, we're talking about women, period. I don't think we've done a good job in enabling women to understand their position in life. How do you feel about that?
I think that what happened is, in the early days, we were taught to labor and we were taught to work, but we were never taught who we really was. And until we have an identity of who we are and where we're going, we've made many failures. In my testimony, the crack, the prostitution, being the madam, that was the woman. That was not the person that God had born me into be. But every woman needs some experience under their belt for the greatness where God has taken them in this era. So we're in a whole new season now, Elder House, of what God is doing with us now. And I'm not talking about black women, but black women is a tool. Hey, black women is a powerful tool for now. And when we learn that who we are, we can change everything about us, our family, our marriage, our ministry, our destiny. And that's what was stopped in the early century, because no one was identifying and telling us that you're a woman of essence. You're a
Yes.
woman of ability. You're a
Yes.
woman of structure. You're a woman that's going to make things happen. You're a woman that's going to make sense out of sense. A lot of women don't know how to take sense and make sense out of it. So what God is doing now, he's restructuring our minds, taking us from while we were in our purpose. Now we're preparing ourselves to go into destiny. If destiny is becoming a promoter or producer, some people have just stopped before then because no one ever identified with what the ability was in most of the women. That's why I was a madam. That's why I was a prostitute. No one never told me that I was greater than that. So I settled for that until God came into my life.
Awesome, awesome, awesome,
Amen.
awesome testimony too. So based on that, if a person comes to you and they're looking for some guidance, you got young women that really need your guidance, and even older women for that matter, because we're at different phases in our lives, but we don't know how to apply the kingdom to it so that we can move forward and be the women of God. What kind of advice would you have for that?
The first thing that I would do is find out if they have any scarred wounds, because the beginning of processing any female is the healing of the inner person. And when we haven't been healed on the inside, or from scars or molestation, rape, no identity, not knowing what our purpose is. A lot of us as grown ladies now don't know our purpose, don't know what am I supposed to do, don't know if I'm supposed to be in love with this man, do I supposed to be in love with another female? So we have a lot of objections against us. So what you want to do is be healed first. Identify with who you are first before you can start to processing, because there's a saying that hurting people hurt people.
Yes.
And so we don't recognize that there are some scars on the inside of us that need healing. need processing, then we'll be delayed in our purpose of what God has destined us to be in. And I know everybody is not, when I say this, I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to be a Christian lady, but this is just my language. Elder House, Dr. House, but God took a lot of my experience to bring me to where I am now. But before I knew what my purpose was, I had no identity because of early childhood trauma.
Yes.
And that goes back to what you asked. When there is early childhood trauma, we tend to fall into many diverse temptation. And
Yes.
most of the time is diverse temptation is denial of being the real true being that God created us to be. Childhood trauma is the beginning of being healed.
It is. And some of the problems that I see that we have is that a lot of us don't know that we need to be healed. We don't know that we're hurt because we have taken things so for granted because that is the way it was given to us. But I'm going to take a minute. We got some Facebook users on here that are saying hello. They're saying good evening, ladies. We're glad to see you here. I'm going to tell you to share so everybody can hear this dynamic woman of God as we talk about Women's Month and what we can do as women to position ourselves to be the women that we should be. None other better than Dr. Seymour here to let us know what it is we need to do, how we need to do it, as she is a women's coach and a relationship coach. So one of the things that I've always thought about is that women, we don't value ourselves. So sometimes we need direction on what it is and how we need to go. Dr. Nikki is saying good evening.
Amen.
What are some of the things that a young woman needs to start doing to value herself, or even an older person that has gone through life without valuing herself? Because to me, if you don't value yourself and understand the talents that God has given you, you're not going to reach your destiny and you're not going to know your purpose. What advice would you give them?
The first thing that we would do is identify with the delay. In most of us, especially Black women, there has been a processing delay. In the processing delaying, we don't know who to talk to and what to talk about. So the first thing I was saying there is there's a process and conversation. There has to be a conversation and reach. Now, there's a saying that I have, if I can reach your heart, I can save your soul. But I cannot save your soul if I cannot reach your heart and identify with where is the scarred tissues. So, in what God has done in this hour, God is raising up now, women. I'm not being prejudiced, but Black women is the most powerful tool on the earth. Never let no one underestimate you. Our minds run different. It's something about our genes. We run differently. But when you can identify and get over the scarred tissues, knowing who you really are, knowing that you was created and destined with purpose and destiny. Once you can shake up, wake up, conversate with the right people, conversate with the right person. Everybody's not a counselor. Everybody's not a coach. Everybody's not a pastor. Everybody's not a leader. So you've got to be able to know who to talk with and how to get delivered so that you can be processed into your purpose. Once you're processed into your purpose, you will find, now I'm thinking to go into this, then you can know who your twin mate or your soul mate. Until you know who you are, you can't look in the mirror and see your purpose. You cannot look in the mirror and see your destiny. I don't know, Elder House, if anybody ever watched Celie on Color Purple. Color Purple, Ruby, I think that was Ruby. Not taking it from the scene, but I'd like to use her. She knew that that was something greater in her, but she couldn't identify what it was. So when whatever the lady name that came on the scene with her started showing her love and started telling her she was beautiful, everything that was on her started dropping off of her. So that's when she began to start processing and finding her purpose and her destiny. And that's so important, purpose and destiny.
And that is true. So when Suge Avery came, she saw a different Celie than the Celie that she had always been told that she was.
That's
Because
exactly.
no one could find the beauty with her. Because when we look at beauty, we often say we're looking at a beautiful woman, but we're not looking on the inside. We're looking at the outside.
That's exactly. And
And
that's what happened. And
Mhm.
and from she stopped looking at herself and she started identifying with her purpose. Then she was able to go into a whole nother level because now she could stand toe to toe with her enemy and say, you are not going to talk to me like that anymore. I'm not going to live this kind of life anymore. I'm not a slave to reality. Once we realize we're not slaves to reality, but we have great purpose in us, we have great destiny in us, and we are strong and powerful. We're stronger than the adversary want us to believe. We are strong women. Elder House, I admire you. You're a strong Black woman.
Thank you.
The enemy gave you a handicap, but yet you took your handicap and made it your strength. And that tells every woman, now this woman has something to say. You showing us that we can live past certain things and get over it. Once we get over it and identify with this is not my purpose, this is not my destiny, I can go on now because I'm a strong lady.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's true because one of the things that I did have to learn was to find my abilities past my disability. So
That's
for
exactly.
someone that had always been active and could do certain things, it was something that gave me a setback. Um, and and it was nobody but God that was like, there's a purpose in this, and you have to find that purpose in those things that are your setbacks. So we do have some other women in it that says that was great. We have great purpose in us. They're saying hello. Dr. Joy is saying good evening, Apostle. So this is Her Talks with the Herpreneur Network. If you're just coming in and you're joining us late, this is Women's Month, and this is our first Thursday night where we are kicking off Women's Month with the dynamic and phenomenal Apostle Adelia Seymour. She is the governing apostle at the Wisdom Center, Miracle Arena in Jonesboro, Georgia. I take great pride in this because she is my apostle and my pastor. So I'm a little biased on this, but she actually is one of the few women that I know that takes women seriously, that she tries to facilitate you and to push you into your purpose, into what it is that you do. And I just felt it was a great segue for her to be here tonight. We all know that Dr. Nikki is our founder. She's kind of like the other side of Dr. Seymour. She's a pusher. Dr. Seymour pushes. Dr. Nikki is a provoker. So between the two of them, I mean, if you ever need to get your life together, between the two of them, you're going to be right where you need to be.
Amen. Amen. God took and
Amen.
raised up. God took and raised up Dr. Ziegler. He knew that there were some ladies that was going to need a lady of her caliber. And God knows how to raise us and push us into our purpose. But he allowed our experiences to push us into our purpose instead of us laying there and waddling in it.
Right.
People of her caliber got up and arose 4 years ago. And now that she woke up and she realized she was greater than all of the tests that she was standing, now God has her to be a voice to the
Yes.
nation, a voice to these women. And I honor that and I respect that because God chooses whom he pleases. That's
Yes.
when I was talking about the giants. I was talking about Deborah and Esther. Those were great giants. And it took a boldness in those women to recognize what was needed to win the battle. And that's what's happening now, Elder House, with people like Dr. Nikki Ziegler. Amen. She sees purpose in other women and it makes her a pusher. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that we're always going to agree, but sometimes we've learned to disagree to agree. Amen. But yet the assignment still goes on, and we thank God for it.
Yes, yes, yes. Somebody's saying hello. Others are saying we have great purpose in us. Love finds the purpose in the setback. So, I
Yes.
always say the setback is a setup,
Yeah.
and the setup is so that you can move forward.
Yes. Yes.
So if you had to talk about how we can educate the younger generation, because right now that's who we need to save, the younger generation. When I think about when I was in my 20s and I look at some of the young women that are now in their 20s, it's like we're eons apart in what it is that we're looking for. And a lot of it has to do with the economy, with the way in general the US runs, and the things that are afforded to us. But how do we take that younger generation and get them to, I mean, we got people like you. You've gone through it. You can tell us about it. We've got Dr. Nikki. She's going through her trials. She tells us about it. She provokes and pushes us. But how do we get them to understand the importance of the younger generation, because they're the future?
Uh, One thing, once we like I was saying earlier, when we see them and going into a certain state, we have to pray for the wisdom of God to know how to reach the heart. If we can reach the heart, we can save the soul. So you're saying, but how are we going to do that? Well, it comes in seminars, it comes in teachings, it comes in different settings. I don't know how God might use others, but like I have different things planned for this summer. But when I see the greatness in these young women, I approach them and I embrace them and let them know that I see the greatness. Don't look at, you might have failed with 3 or 4 babies or 3 or 4 men. That's not what I'm looking at. My heart, my whole purpose is to put her back in her focus, put them back in their view, put them back in their purpose. Tell them how beautiful and smart they are, how intelligent they are. You start, now you're reaching that inner man. Now you're speaking to not just the flesh. You're not looking at the face and the shape, but we're talking to their heart. A lot of times I see them at the grocery store and I put my arm around and say, baby, don't talk to your baby like that in the store. Come here and let me pull you to the side. And sometime at the house, I might pay for their groceries while we're in the line. But at the same time, I'm having a conversation with them and saying, baby, I used to be you. I used to be just like that. Now I want to tell you what God has done for me. Everybody I know is not going to get the Holy Ghost, but you can still live an upright life. You
Yes.
still can live a good life. I'm not talking about you got to always be like I was or do what I did. But at the same time, if we got more people out there that can recognize that there are some hurting women, hurting young ladies that's ready to embrace them, stop them where they are, and tell them, girl, there is so much greatness in you. Don't you have another baby? See, I wouldn't have had 10 children if someone would have told me after about the first 4. I can't say the first 10, but the first 4, I probably wouldn't have had 10, But I didn't have a voice. I didn't meet other women that was pushing me and telling me, Adelia, you could be a great young lady. That wasn't that. So now what we want to do, we want to stop and process our young girls. Talk shows like this, Elder House, seminars, sessions, meeting them where they are, street services, meeting them where they are, and encouraging them that there is so much greatness in them. If you can get 3 powerful women, you can change a nation. If you can get 3 powerful women, you can change your city. If you get 3 strong women, you can change your community. You get 5 strong women, you can change a church.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
That was good. That was good. So one of the things that I know you hold it very dear to your heart is that you have a growing ministry, and a lot of the people in the church are women. Can you talk about the changes that you've seen over the last couple of years? Because I've been with you for 3 years, and there has been a dynamic change in people within themselves. And you had a great deal to do with that change.
Well, like one young lady I brought from Tennessee, when I got there, she was having babies after babies, sleeping around, and her life was just in just a big ball, just in a big ball. And I recognized her. I was there doing a tent service, and what I did, I said, I want to sow into you. I said, let me be your mentor for a while. I said, watch what God does. I identified with all of the pain and all of the hurt that she had dealt with. I identified with the life that she had become during that time. See, when we will associate mistakes with our life. Some
Right.
things are just a mistake. It's not our life. It's not my destiny. It was a mistake. And what we have to do is when I recognize this in this young lady, and then I begin to tell her, I said, girl, on down the line, I see what God is going to use you, blah, 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 blah. And now she's one of the big ladies in the church doing different things in the ministry. I've taken women that was in Uncle Sam's army that was going backwards, thinking their life was blah, blah, whatever. And I had to encourage them to know God designed us as beautiful women of essence. You're a beautiful lady to raise kids, beautiful lady to be a wife to your husband, humble and coming into submissiveness, raising your children, cleaning your house, keeping the food on the table. I had to teach these women at the house. I have several women that God has used me to come and go in their houses and show them how to clean up and show them how to cook and wash their children's clothing. I have to be an example of what I believe in my assignment.
Yes.
We are the women of this hour. We got to roll up our sleeves and be willing to become whatever at that moment. You got to take these young women and show them, again, I go to this word all the time, identify with their purpose. Those women I heard you said earlier, they got to know that they're wearing a crown. Sometimes nobody can see it. And they've got to take a Shanda. Sometimes you've got to take a broken crown and put it back together again.
Yes,
Because
yes, it's
the crown
true.
is broken. You don't throw it away. You pick up that crown and put it back together again. This is what we have to do with our women.
Awesome, awesome, awesome advice. So some of the comments we're seeing now are saying we have great purpose in us. Love finds purpose in the setback. Somebody caught on to your 3 powerful women. They said, and the best one is that was good. It was just a mistake. Fixing crowns, and somebody in here, Titus 2.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
I saw that. Amen.
So it's being effective. So we know that one of the things is that women, sometimes because of lack of knowledge, sometimes because we really just don't want to admit certain things to ourselves, we don't reach out for assistance. We don't reach out for help. For me, I say that the society we live in kind of keeps us where we are because certain things become easy. We don't look at things as the tool they were meant to be. You get Medicaid for your children because you can't afford insurance. You get food stamps to help feed your family, but we get dependent upon that and think it's unnecessary instead of using it as a tool to get us through what we're going to so that we can reach for higher and become self-sufficient.
Elder House.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to interject right there. And I pray that this is wise. The system was set up to disconnect us from our purpose. There is so much strength in a Black woman in her own purpose and abilities. The system was set up to put us on delay. Once you get addicted to the system, you don't know your strength and your power.
Right. It's hard to get away.
So, yeah, and so what it does, it strips us of our independency. It strips us and it gives us and it gives our power back to the system. Now, if I was teaching this at church, I'd say something different. But it's sending us, it is to throw you off. So what you do, you go out there and get on HUD, you get in the project. Now, but they're able to monitor you and everything that you and your children are doing.
Yes.
Now that they got you in the project, low income, Medicaid, they know if you're shopping at Publix, they know if you're shopping at Walmart, they know if you're shopping at Dollar General. They monitor you. They monitor you in the neighborhoods by the urgent care clinics and the pharmacies that you go to. So now they put us all in one box and they know how to target us. But if you get some smart sisters that make up their mind
Come on now, you talking now.
I'm not going to be determined by the system. I'd rather find my own independency of who I am rather than sell out to the system. You will not cause me to sell out to the food stamp HUD. Ain't no system going to know every move that I make.
Yes.
So what they do, they set you up as young Black women having 4 and 5 children. They put you in the HUD in the project. Then your boyfriend is not allowed to visit you or stay all night with you. Y'all know how it go. So if he move in with you, they come and have a key to your house. They keep a key and give you a key. So they put him in jail for the drugs. And I know we're not talking about this, but you have to wake up. They put him in jail for the drugs so that they can come back and rule your house. Listen, let's wake up.
Yes.
Let's wake up. Let's find strength in one another. I am a powerful Black woman. I have a strong mind, and I would not give my mind, my abilities, my knowledge, my wisdom to the system. No, I'd never do that. Now, let you know that's another language that I could use, but I'm being very discreet because there are certain things that I know that the system has done to us, and that's why we can't educate our Black girls.
Yes.
See, they want you to keep having babies. They want you to keep sleeping around with no integrity. They want you sleeping with everything with no integrity of who you are. Look in the mirror and talk to that mirror. Yes. You got to declare to yourself, I am a brilliant black lady or white, whatever, but I'm a woman of integrity. That's where we're fixing to go. I want to say this, Elder. What happened was we never had the breakdown. We never had the breakdown of being the female, the woman. So the woman is the boisterous one. The woman get a 9-to-5 job, take care of the children, making sure everything is taken care of. But there's a lady on the inside of that woman.
Yes.
Wants to be loved and appreciated for who she is. So when you look in the mirror, the woman is battling with the lady because she don't want to let the real lady come out of the house. If the lady comes out, the lady is going to be in the right place with integrity. So, but the woman don't ever want the lady to come out because the lady is structured. She can think.
Yes.
She got the bank account together. She got the love life together. She has the children together. She has the abilities. The woman has gone from purpose. Let me tell you what the lady has gone. The lady has gone beyond the veil. When the lady goes beyond the veil, the woman was at the cross, at the foot of the cross being delivered. Once deliverance comes, the lady can come out and take full course in everything that has been purposely and designed for us to be.
That's good. That's good. No, don't stop. Because we do have to wake up. And the question is, how do we reach these young people to get them to understand that you're more than just a woman, but you are that lady?
Yeah. Well, we have to do the breakdown, though. See, there has to be a breakdown and a conversation. Elder House, when we're meeting with women, we have to be Shanda. We can't say, I better not say that. We can't do that, not in this society. We've got to be able to conversate and open up to these women to save them. You can't have the conversation that Celie them had in the 30s and the 40s. We've got to have real conversations now and wake up our beauty. Let's wake up our essence. Your essence need waking up saying, I'm better than that. Yes. I'm better than the way I've been doing this. Wait a minute, there was so much greatness in me. I didn't know I was a lady. I just thought I was a woman. So I didn't mind pumping my own gas. I didn't mind working 9 to 5 and taking my own garbage out. I didn't mind using profanity in the public and doing and saying things, sleeping around, having children by different men. Come on, talk to me.
Yes.
But once somebody have a conversation, you reach the heart. Then you can save the value that's in that woman. Then the lady can come out and the valuable tools can go to work. They can go to work, but they can't go to work until we have more conversations to reach in their heart and letting them know they're greater.
Yes.
I know. I
No,
start.
no, it's no, it's good. It's good. Don't stop. It's good. So my question is, we know from our perspectives, someone like you, someone like Dr. Nikki, someone like myself, we got a lot of women out there that have
Yes.
found the lady in them. But how do we reach the others? I mean, we might see them at the gas station, we might see them at the supermarket, as you were saying. But how do we get her to recognize the value in herself? Somebody just said we got to say the value in her. How do we get them to recognize that? What is it that we need to do? Because sometimes you're like me, you're lucky. You come out of it and you figure it out. You know, nobody told me. I had some good role models, but nobody told me, but I figured it out.
Yeah.
But you've got other people where they can't figure it out because, like you say, the system is weighing down so heavy on them that they can't think their way through it. What do you think it is that we can do as women? Women, like you said, get 3 women, get 5 women. What is it that we need to do?
Well, I think, Elder House, that's a beautiful question. I think if we all, like you say, partner and attack this thing head on, knocking on doors, meeting and greeting these women, we have to. There are a lot of solution things that I have done. You know, when we meet them head on, we have. I keep going back to this. We have to be ready to conversate. But Doctor uh, House, we cannot be ashamed to conversate. I want you to hear this. We have got to be open when we meet these women, even if we say we're going under the bridge and attack our women. We've got to teach them and talk to them about walking into grocery stores during the day with pajamas on and sleeping caps still on their head. None of this is not even being taught. You go in a store, we still got on the sleeping cap. Now they got them gray bit kind. That's no integrity. That's not walking in the grace and the beauty of and the essence of who we are. Still walking with pajamas on, babies looking any kind of way. We've got to find them at any cost. The bus
Yeah.
stop, the malls. That is the tool of reaching these young women. And we've got to be able to conversate what I do. And it doesn't mean that everybody would agree, but when I see them, I always embrace them. And this is my identifier is, girl, I see me. I always tell them when I see them is, I see who I used to be. And that opens the door right there. I said, girl, you know, I used to be just like that. I see me every time I see you, or when I see you, the conversation starts. There has to be a plan. There has to be a plan to win. There
Yes.
has to be a way that we can target, go to the streets, go under the bridges, go into those low income communities, set up the tent, giving out free clothing, giving out free food. There are always ways of winning these and target the women. I've targeted Black men last month, and you know that. And look how many God sent in.
Yes.
Because I targeted those men and I told them who they was, their purpose. I told them that the system wanted to take all the Black men from us. And if all the Black men are selling drugs and in jail, who do we have? If we don't have smart Black men. And so we got to keep raising up Black women to help pour into these Black men to keep them out of the system. There has to be a plan of smartness. So when God created us to be smart Black women, we are to go and capture the Black men and pull them in and tell them that the kingdom have need of them. See,
Yes.
nobody's saying that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, the kingdom have need. The kingdom have need. And so what we got to do, let's bind our forces. Let's bind our resources. And let's take it by force. The Bible declares that the violent take it by force. We have to know. All we have to do is approach the situation with a positive solution. But remember what I said. You got to be able to be open. You have to be open with, when you go into a some certain subdivision, they don't understand certain language. They go understand ghetto hood language. So you got to reach them right where they are, and God will save them and deliver and change them. And
That's
then we
true.
got to
That's
have
true.
somewhere to take them. If we're going to move them from their situation, let's have a plan of deliverance so that they won't have to go back to the housing or to the project or to the ghetto that God delivered them from.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That was good. That was true. And we do have to meet them where they are. But the problem that I see is that we've got go-getters and provokers, and they're out there. There's you. I know that there's Dr. Nikki's. There's several other women out there that want to help. But one of the things that I find is that a lot of women, and it doesn't matter what your race is, when you find yourself at a certain level, they don't want to reach back and acknowledge where they came from so that they can pull somebody, like you say, that used to be me. Everybody doesn't admit that it used to be me.
Yeah.
And then we get that attitude because we forget where we come from. And then we act like, oh, I don't know how she got there. I would have never done that. But we've all fallen short of the glory.
Yes.
And we need to realize that we need to have just what you said, a plan of deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good. That was good. Now I'm going to change the subject just a little bit. We're still talking about women. I know that you have a phenomenal group of women that are called the Lady Baps.
Yes.
Tell us about the Baps.
Well, the Baps are lady bishops, apostles, prophets, pastors, and sisters. And what we do is we come in and strengthen and encourage each other. What we do also is I go and I help build a lot of them that don't have their ministries together, uh, uh, don't know their calling. A lot of people have answered to the calling that's not theirs. And when you answer the telephone call and it's not your call, the best thing to do is hang up. Don't try to abide in a calling that's not yours. And that's some of the stuff that I've been going around teaching lately. Matter of fact, I got another invitation for this week, as a matter of fact. I go in with structure. I teach these women how to walk, stay humble, and stay in humility and remain a lady at all times. That is the strength of BAPS, is walking in integrity, leading by in integrity. Never allow your emotions to rule you. Whenever we are ruled by our emotions and intimidated, we fail in the mission. You always fail if your emotions get in it, or you're easily to be intimidated, especially by others. There are others that's just as great as me. Maybe their experience wasn't like mine and mine wasn't like them, but it does not take away from who they are. I
Right.
believe that if you have integrity, integrity is who you are. Be identified by your integrity. And that's what BAPS does. BAPS is an encourager and it's a strengthener. I'm not so based off of businesses. I'm based off of the spiritual side of these great apostolic women that God is raising up for such a time as this. The seven great ladies that we talk about in the Bible, they are still in existence. People always talk about Catherine Kuhlman. Catherine Kuhlman is in the ground, but the spirit is still alive.
Yes.
The spirit is still alive. So what we want to do, we want to stay humble, want to stay in the humility of God, want to walk in integrity in spite of emotions. Don't let your mind run you from what God is calling you into. Don't let your emotions determine your destiny and your purpose. Being called a great woman of God that walks and lives in integrity. That's what BAPS is about.
Awesome. Awesome.
Amen.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So
Thank
I know BAPS is kind of like the flip side of the Herpreneur Network
you. Yeah.
because we focus on ministry and business. Um, and I've got a dog here that wants to say hello to everybody. Stop. Uh, so one of the things that I want to say is we need to get people that we already put in the label, and it's just a label of
Yeah.
the ladies together, so that we can go out and facilitate some of these things that you're saying. That we need to go to these marginalized communities, and we need to include them in conversations
Yes. Yes.
of how to get better.
Because if
Of
you don't
steps.
conversate, I'm sorry, I'm sorry,
No, go
woman.
ahead. That's fine.
If you don't conversate, you can never reach the heart. So we can just be there with a girl just crying, and you don't know why she's crying. You think she's crying because she could be crying because she's gotten herself in a bad situation with drugs or living in a situation she don't want to be in. We've got to conversate, and we cannot be afraid to conversate on certain things. So this generation, what we're talking about going now into the depths, if we can reach that heart, we can save the soul. So we've got to be able for them to say, "I feel her. I can feel her, man. Yeah, I feel her. I can deal with her." Now we're able to bring the women back out of something that's been trying to set them backwards for a long time. I meet those women at the house, and we need to team up.
Yes.
I'm not afraid. I put on my white shirt. Let's roll up our sleeve, get in the bus, and let's just go.
Yes. Reach the
Let's
heart.
just go.
Yes. And the other thing that we have to do is, and it's going to be hard because we know the system is the system, but we have got to find a way to work with, not from, say, the federal level where all of this kind of drifts down from, but with our local communities. Because the local communities are really affected by the things that are not done correctly. Because now you have the impact on the area. They're always talking about we want to clean up the ghetto. They need to partner so that we can clean up the ghetto,
There you go.
because they don't understand what cleaning up the ghetto is. Cleaning up the ghetto doesn't mean building another apartment building and you're going to move people from a bad apartment building into a new apartment building, and they haven't been taught what it is they need to do to survive in that new environment, because 5 years from now it's the same thing. It's clean and shiny on the outside, but it's still not clean on the inside.
On the inside.
And that's one of some of the things I think that we have to get together and do. So this has been absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. Oh man, I'm so glad we kicked off with you, because we do want to talk about us as women. And not just, we've got mental health coaches that can talk about mental health. We've got business coaches that can say, start your own business. But we got to start at the bottom, because for the people that don't know, they don't realize that there is a better way. They're making do with what it is that they got, and they can't see past yesterday to get to tomorrow.
In the house, I've talked, like, I have women that come to me. They're living in situations that they want to come out of, but they're afraid to walk away. See, those are the kind of things that we have to deal with. They're afraid, and if they walk away, how they're going to be supported. These are conversations.
Yes.
This is what's needed. I know I know they need Jesus, but at the same time, they need to know their purpose. When I talk about purpose on this show, I'm not talking about being a missionary. I'm not talking about being a preacher. I'm talking about your identity for who you are in real life.
Yes.
You a person. You are a you before you are a preacher. You are a you before you are a missionary, and you're dealing with real issues. So that's why I often tell them, if God delivered me, it was a process. That's why we're able to now go back and say, I used to do all that you're doing. I got 10 children, and 6 of them got different daddies. That girl will say, no. I said, yeah, but look at me now. I
Yes.
made up my mind. But I made up my mind, and I had 1 or 2 people that reached out. They reached my heart. And because of that, 20 some years later, I am here. We need to conversate. 3 or 4 of us come together, strong women, conversate on a plan, and let's take back our communities. Let's take back our cities. Don't have a church in a community, and the community don't know you're in that community.
That's
Never
true.
be
That's
in a
true.
community and they don't know that you're there. The mayor, the city officials, people are supposed to be intimidated with you in a community. You're supposed to be a threat to the drug man. You're a threat to the liquor store because you're in the community with
Yes.
change.
And
Black
that's it.
women, go, yeah.
Yes.
When you are a female, I told you, you're structured with power. You're a giant. Barack come to Deborah and said, what am I going to do? She said, well, I'm just going to get up. Let me pray. I'm going to get up and we're going to take it by storm. That was a strong woman. Those 2 women fought better. Look at Esther. She saved the whole nation.
Yes.
Because she knew who she was. She had her mind made up. That's where I'm at.
Yes, yes. Someone saying a plan of deliverance. You're getting blessings from the Bahamas. Have a conversation with them, meet them where they are, embrace them, have that plan, reach the heart, save the soul.
Wow.
Don't have a church in the community and they don't know that you are there. That is so true. That is so true. So we have like mega churches. People know them because they're big. It's a church. But are they reaching the people? And they're in Atlanta, there's churches on almost every corner.
On every corner. Mm-hmm.
But are they being effective? Do people know who you are? Do people understand the mission that your church is having?
That's exactly.
And it is not just to save the soul, but it is to save the whole of you.
Oh, come on, lady. Yes.
Including the soul.
And there has to be programs set up to teach women how to be a mother, how to clean up, how to cook. They got their own apartments, but you can't walk in them. Roaches everywhere, clothes everywhere. They don't even have sheets and comforters on their beds. That's a program.
Yes.
That's a rehabilitation program. So we sitting over there trying. Now we're not talking about filling them with the Holy Ghost and baptizing them. We're trying to get them in excellence and having integrity for themselves. Not about going to church, but that's a part of the play. But what we want to straighten your mind out to let you know you're a woman of essence.
Yes. And people have to understand their purpose and that their purpose are tied to the gifts. God has given us all gifts. We just don't know that it's a gift.
Yeah.
We just don't know that it's a gift. I've always taught. The only bad grade I ever got was in conduct in school. And they stifle that. You got to stop talking. You got to stop talking. How effective would I have been had I been becoming a public speaker 40 years ago?
Wow.
As opposed to now. It's effective now. But think of, and I have to feel guilty about it because I didn't realize because I didn't know. But I have to think about all of the impact that I didn't make that I should have made over the course of 40 years.
Your purpose had been put on lockdown because it had not been identified with. And so for all those years, purpose was on lockdown and destiny could not process. But you could not die because destiny had not processed yet. And there were those that needed what God had inside of you. That's why I say we have to heal first in a lot of things. And a lot of things that we was taught wasn't really something that has brought us to where we are now. A lot of things that we was taught, I think, if I had been taught a lot differently, I would have been much further up the road. But because I wasn't, I've been on delay. So a lot of things have been delayed, but God won't let us die because of the purpose and the fulfillment of those that need what He has brought us from.
That's true. That's true.
I said Sunday, you can't spell experience without an X.
That's true. That is true. And He doesn't let us die because the destiny has to be fulfilled. That impact has to be made. Because I've been in situations where I can't figure out why am I still here. But there was a path for me to take. Did I take the long path? Absolutely.
All of us.
But I took the path, but I was fortunate enough that God blessed me to be able to find what that purpose is.
Yes.
This has been an amazing, amazing, amazing conversation. We're almost at the end of our time. For those of you that are joining in late, you missed a phenomenal, phenomenal conversation. It will be on replay. You can see it on Facebook. You can see it on Instagram. This is the Herpreneur Network's Her Talk. We are a network of Christian women in business and ministry. We are here to support each other. We call ourselves a sisterhood. We have been making changes over the last 4 years. Dr. Seymour has seen us develop. She's seen us grow to where we come from. We have seen her just flourish with her church, where she's moved to, and God's got a sense of humor. God's got a sense of humor. Because
Yes.
you had this big fabulous church, and God worked it out that He put you where you were needed. And no, none of us saw that in the beginning. None of us saw that in the beginning. But it is so apparent now as you see the growth of the church. And they understand it's not just church, it's home.
Yeah.
When we come in, we're home.
Yes.
And we need to work. So I'm going to say to the audience out there, those of you, you need to put your time in. If you don't have a church home, find you a church home, but find a church home that's going to work for the good, that is going to build up. Because the one thing that we didn't say is that when you build that woman up into that lady that she's supposed to be, she strengthens that man.
Yeah.
So it's our duty to do what we need to do, because we are the backbone. Even though he's the front, we're the backbone. It's just like how they say, it's just like in a game of chess. The queen always protects her king.
And I want to say this, Elder House, when they're some, if you don't have a pastor, don't just join a church to join a church. What you want to do is, when you identify with the leader that knows your purpose and your destiny, you've got to have one that can call you out and recognize who you are, that you can begin to start growing and answering to your assignment. You can never answer to your assignment totally if your leader don't know who you are and what God is calling you to do. There's purpose and destiny that's waiting on you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. This has been phenomenal. I thank you for being here. For those of you, the Herpreneur Network, if you would like to join the network, just email membership@theherpreneurnetwork.com. Membership@theherpreneurnetwork.com. We have different levels of membership. You can come in. You can be a part of these phenomenal teachings that we get from guests such as Dr. Seymour. You will get the other provoker that I always talk about, which is Dr. Nikki Ziegler, which is our founder. It's a phenomenal place to be. Collaborate together. This is what you need. So, Dr. Seymour, again, my pleasure. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you for giving us this time today. This has been an eye-opener, I'm sure, for many people. And we will see you again soon, hopefully, for another episode of Her Talks on the Herpreneur Network. So right now, I got a couple of things that I want to tell you about. We have some events that are coming up. We have the Her Experience that is coming up in Texas, May 30th through the 2nd, 2024. You need to be there. This is a business expo that we have. There is going to be phenomenal networking opportunities. Be there. Don't miss this opportunity. We are looking for speakers. If you're a public speaker, just hit the membership, hit speakers at theherpreneurnetwork.com. You can even go to the membership. We'll get that information to you. And if you know about us, every year we have the Strong Her Retreat. We usually go to Destin. God said pivot. We're doing a cruise this year. It is the Strong Her Cruise. It's going to be 5 days and 4 nights. It's going to be fantastic. It is October the 5th through the 10th. So hit that link. Let us know you want to come. And I'm going to get you all excited because we're going to have the monumental trip. For me, it's a bucket list trip. We're going to do the Her Experience in Houston this year, but in 2025, we're going to Dubai. So we have some great things that are coming along. We have some other interesting things coming. There's a wives conference coming up. We're always on the move. We're always doing things. So thank you everyone for being here tonight. Again, thank you again, Apostle Seymour, for your time. Just join the network, guys. We're here. We're live and in living color, and we want you to be with us. And with that, I'm going to say good night. Bless everyone, and thank you again for tuning in.
Good night. Good night. Love everyone.